Kanye's second documentary project is out, and surprised to say there was a lot of people in the theater for it. By the end of it, there wasn't as many, uh, which is kind of weird because I think a lot of people know who Kanye is. I think they know what he said and done in recent times, so I don't know what what they were expecting around the end of this movie or documentary rather. And it's just really sad. Uh, I'll just start this off by saying Kanye or Ye, whatever he goes by currently, was one of my probably my biggest inspiration growing up. He was from Chicago. It seemed like he was bigger than anything. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't love art as much as I probably do. Um, I truly think he was one of the biggest geniuses, innovators in, I mean, not only music, but fashion. It's kind of crazy how far he went with things. I think in any other life, Kanye could have been one of the best actors in the world. He could have been one of the best. I mean, I don't know if he was the best fashion designer, but you can see his influence in everything fashion wise ever since he got into it. He was one of, if not the biggest artist of his lifetime, or if when he was pretty active. I think he is one of the most, if not the most, influential music artists of all time. He, I think he has made timeless music. I think if you put his music in any decade, any year, it'd sound like it'd be the best song of that time. He's truly just a genius. It's unfortunate that he's let things get to him in such ways, but I mean, yeah, Kanye was just someone I always looked up to. I have every one of his albums on vinyl or CD, whatever he released it on. I have some, T-shirts from way back in the day. I've listened to every live performance he's ever done. Basically, I've watched most of Genius, his Netflix TV show. I didn't watch the last episode because I thought they canceled it, but apparently third episode did come out. I just never knew. I mean, this guy was a huge part of my life. He's just so important. I think he's just so important to everything art, and it's just such a shame what happened to him. And this documentary is just perfectly showing the downfall of. Man, I mean, is it really a downfall if he's still like stupidly big? I'm not sure, but like as a person, his downfall. It's really sad. I wish that this documentary included parts of Genius. I thought that was I think showing more of his early life would have been good. Maybe turn Genius into a theatrical release, shortening each episode down and maybe making a 2.5 hour documentary instead of a 3 part streaming special. I think the most important parts of his life are the early parts of his career, and you don't get to see that in this at all. I don't know how far episode 3 went in Genius, but this documentary starts, I think, 2018, if I remember correctly, maybe late 2017, and you get everything from that point on. And of course, in 2018, that was the part where Kanye's finally back, and he's made kids see Ghost, and he's gonna make Jesus is King soon after that. And of course, as time went on, he made Donda and the Vultures trilogy, and I guess Donda 2. Um, but that was the start of like the downfall of his life. I don't know. It's just so sad seeing his he himself just ruin everything in front of him. Um, he he would say stuff like, "I control my life, and it doesn't matter what I do. I'll still be at the top at the end of the day." He does the stuff with Adidas, and then he loses every single brand deal, not only Adidas. And I mean, he was pretty broke a couple years ago. Like he was down in the dumps, but I mean, he's got his money back up. But it's just not. He's never gonna be what he was before. He was the I think he was the richest. They say it in the documentary. He was the richest black man in America in history, which is like so absurd. Out of every person that could have it possibly been, it's Kanye. He really was just like on top of the world, and I wish this documentary showed that more. I wish they actually gave more structure and writing for his downfall. Instead, they just it's just showing clips of everything, which is great because you don't really get people ever who document every single second of their lives for over 20 years. And to have someone like Kanye be one of those people who has done that, it's absurd. And I don't know, it's cool seeing every single clip just being like every single day, month, year of the past 7 years of his life. And but I'd like some sort of, I don't know, storytelling along with it. I think just having Kanye do most of the monologue over the clips is a strange idea. Um, I don't know. Like, I don't know Nico. I don't know his last name, but Nico Ballesteros. I'm might be butchering his last name, but I don't know what he was thinking. Um, I think a lot of the shots in this are cool. He's an amazing cameraman, but editing wise, this movie's just kind of a mess. It's in chronological order, but I you just need more. You just need way more. And I understand maybe his reasoning is you get to see everything from Kanye's point of view and everything Kanye says, and that's kind of why the movie feels like that. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just such a strange decision. I really wish they made this feel more like a documentary. I also don't like that we don't get any of the Vultures trilogy era of Kanye at all. Because I think that was the worst part about him, about his career. He's lost his wife completely at that point, and you just don't see any of that. And you can see throughout this documentary, he clearly loved Kim Kardashian. He probably still loves her, um, but the way I never got to see him treat her like this, and to see like what he did, like screaming at her constantly, yelling at her, uh, basically going forehead to forehead with her and even her family. It's just like it's just so awful. It really is awful. I really don't know what to say. Like I truly wonder what Kanye would have been if he just stayed on his meds or if he stayed in Chicago instead of moving to New York or Wyoming or wherever the fuck else he moved to. I think his life would have been completely different. I know Kim didn't like it. She says so in the documentary, but something in his head would have changed. It's just so rough. And you can see how much the effect of losing his mom had on him. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what else to say about this. It's kind of hard to talk about documentaries. I feel like I covered most of it, and I'm just kind of talking more and more about Kanye and who he was. But that's kind of what this whole thing was about. I really wish there was more. Um, a second part to this, or they released the Genius trilogy. I'm gonna have to catch a third part of Genius because that first 16 to 17 years of his career is just so monumental and important. This just feels like the burnout of him. I I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm just kind of just going on and on. In Whose Name, Kanye's second life documentary project. I could be wrong, but I'm 99% sure this is only a second one after the Genius trilogy. Um, it's finally out, and it's very disheartening to watch this documentary. I was kind of surprised how many people were in the theater for this. I didn't think there was going to be that many. There was like at least four people in all five rows of the theater. I was very surprised. I didn't think anyone was going to go see a noon showing on a Friday for a Kanye documentary, but I mean, this guy was one of the biggest things in the world, one of the biggest things in art history, and it's nice to see that he had such an impact on people's lives that they're even gonna go out of their way to see this noon at a theater. Which is pretty cool. As for me, this Kanye was one of the most influential figures of my life. I always I didn't necessarily look up to him, but I don't know how to put it. I always just saw Kanye in such a like kind of like in a mirror. A lot of the stuff he did, I always wanted to be like him. I always wanted to be as big as him. I always wanted to have the somewhat of an ego he had. I never wanted to be as crazy as him, but I always wanted to be that guy where like he was, where he used to say stuff like if I wasn't doing music, I'd be the biggest actor in the world. I'd be the president of the world. I'd be blah blah blah. I'd be the best cook, chef, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I truly think he could have been. I think he had the ultimate mindset to probably accomplish anything. Yeah, you can say he tried running for president and it failed, but this is after 20 years of doing hip hop, and at the same time he was completely off his meds and kind of insane to the public, so of course he's not going to even come close to winning, but maybe in a different lifetime he starts off younger in politics and makes his way to it. I don't know. I truly think this could have been a guy who in any lifetime he would have been able to do anything. I think he is the most one of the most influential artists in music. He is one of the most influential artists in fashion. He was on top of the world in everything. He was in movies, number one records, number one songs, best selling, outfits, clothes, everything, shoes. I mean, he changed the shoe game for so many companies. It's kind of unreal. And I don't know. I've seen like everything about this guy. I grew up with him basically. He started when I was like 3 making music. Or he made his first album when I was 3. And I've watched every single thing about him. I've listened to every album on release for him. I listened for every single song that he's had and featured it on release, everything. And it's such a shame to see someone like this just fall out completely. And I think this documentary kind of does a good job at that. This is just a glorified clip montage, if I'd had to say so. I don't think there's much substance. Unfortunately, you don't get anyone's point of view during it, unless they're in clips. But I don't know. It's just kind of it's kind of like what Kanye would have done anyway. So maybe that's a win for him. Um, I don't know. It's just so sad seeing the fallout of a guy that you looked up to your whole life, and he just lost his mind because he didn't stay on his meds, and probably because he wasn't close enough to home, and his mother passing away and all this stuff around him. It just kind of it's just a shame. Like this was he says it himself, and I agree. I think he was our generation's Michael Jackson. Whether you think he was as big as not, he can never be as big as Michael Jackson. But the way he influenced everybody in music, even like country, pop, hip hop, everything underground, like every single genre, you have people saying they're influenced by him, and it's just so sad to see him go away like this. There's the part in this documentary where he's doing the SNL stuff, and one of the comedians goes up to him and goes, I don't know why you said all that stuff. We've all looked up to you, and then you kind of went behind our backs and did all this. I feel like that's how every single fan of him feels currently. That was 7 years ago, and it sucks that 7 years later it still feels like the same exact shit. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know how to review documentaries. Um, A lot of the stuff with his wife is heartbreaking. I know after they divorced, people were calling her a whore. A lot of mean things. Whatever they could say about Kim Kardashian, they said it. If you watch this if you haven't watched this and you are saying that shit, then I think you should watch this. The way he treats her is absolutely fucking disgusting. He's yelling at her. He's like basically butting heads with her. I I don't know. It's really unbelievable. Obviously, everyone knows he wasn't on his meds. That's definitely the reason why his life crumbled apart. It's just such a shame. Like there just wasn't anyone who could have got him back to the point where he was in 2018. It's really unbelievable. I don't know. Um, the future of Kanye, I'm not really sure. I don't really want to talk about the documentary that much. I think the only part that I really cared about was the Kim Kardashian stuff, and I'm happy that it's on the big screen that everyone gets to see the way he treated her. Um, Maybe he'll look back and watch this and be like, "Holy shit, I'm really fucked up. Maybe I should go back on my meds." I mean, he there was an opportunity where he could have got her back even during the divorce, but he just didn't. He never tried, and you can tell he clearly loves her in this. Like, there's so many clips where he's away from her and he's talking about her, and it's like, why didn't you try hard enough to be with her? I don't understand it. A lot of the stuff I didn't know behind the scenes with like when he was doing the MAGA stuff. That's kind of funny to see. Just seeing like the Charlie Kirk stuff, the Candace Owens stuff, seeing the when he's doing the live interviews on television when he hangs up mid interview. I never got to see the behind the scenes of that, obviously, so it was really cool seeing that. I don't know. I don't know. You really see Kanye in this. I mean, that man would not take any answer except for his own. I don't know. I don't know. And he destroyed his own life doing that. The whole Adidas stuff at the end, right before the documentary ends, where he goes, "I could say anything I want, and Adidas won't drop me." And then it cuts to every single company dropping him, and every social media platform just deactivating his accounts, which I think was only lasted like 3 months anyway. But it's such a shame. The future of Kanye, I really hope it's much brighter than what it is currently. Everything that's happened from Vultures 1 to Donda 2 has just been disgusting. Um, I just need some change in him. He just needs new people around him or something because this isn't. I don't think this is who he is. What he is currently. I just don't. This is just insane. His friendships are all ruined. His wife is gone. You don't see many pictures with his kids anymore. I don't even know if he has half custody of them anymore. And it sucks because his kids talk about him so much when they're doing interviews. Um, yeah, it's really heartbreaking. I hope there's a point in his life where he gets back to normal, or whatever normal was for Kanye at least. But what's going on currently has been disgusting. He's been releasing some of his worst music of all time in the past couple years, which is awful. I think everything after Donda has just been rough. I thought Donda would have been the perfect retirement album, even though I was begging for all those leaks to come out and I was begging for more music to come out. Seeing how everything turned out after Donda has just been so disheartening. I mean, I've been collecting this guy's stuff for God knows how long, and it's just not the same person I was looking up to, admiring, buying all his music and clothing. This just isn't Kanye. I hope I didn't drag too long in this review. I'm not going to give this a rating because I don't know what to rate a documentary. To be honest, I think I'm just giving this a smooth 6. To be honest, I think it's a fine documentary. You can see a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes of Kanye's life and how he ruined it. But I hope the next documentary we get for Kanye is just completely different. I don't know what else to say.